Hello, dear friends. This is your favorite channel, sayitcorrectly.org. Today we are going to see a very important idiomatic expression with to have. You know that to have is the infinitive, and we are going to study complete sentences. How to make complete sentences with to have and a noun. Okay? There are three activities that you conduct every day. Mandatory. To have, the first one is in the morning. The first one is to have breakfast. It's an action, it's a verb. To have lunch, usually at noon. And to have dinner in the evening with the family. So we are going to conjugate to have. Yes? We're going to conjugate to have. We're going to use, the subject is going to be I, you, he or she, and as you very well know, this is the third person singular, and this is the first and the second person singular. So here we're going to have the verb conjugated, which is to have. It has two forms, have and has for the third person singular. So there you have a complete sentence. I have breakfast, you have breakfast, he or she has breakfast. Of course, you can change, I have lunch, you have lunch, he has lunch. When do you do these actions? Well, usually you do these actions every day. Okay? So we are going to do, we're going to conjugate to have lunch every day. This is an adverb of time, and we can add another one, and you'll see it now in the declarative sentences that we are going to form now for you, so you can say them, because the objective is that you pronounce every single word, because you have to hear yourself and you have to build a route in your brain. So the objective for this class is to learn how to say these activities: to have lunch, to have breakfast, and to have dinner. Because in Spanish is very different, and in German, in any other language, is different from English. So we have a statement here. This is a declarative sentence. We are going to add another adverb of time, and I have, of course, throughout the lesson, I'm going to change lunch, breakfast, and dinner, interchange them so we can use some different adverbs of time. Because I have lunch every day, I can add another adverb of time, and I'd say at noon. And this is the period, and this is a complete sentence in the declarative form. You can conjugate it in three different persons, like I, you, he, or she. The only thing is that you have to remember is the third person singular here. When you conjugate to have, you have to use has. Now, I'm going to remove all of this, and we are going to do the exercise with the magic board that appears with the lights, and you repeat it, okay? So this is the opportunity to say a complete sentence in English with to have lunch. I have lunch every day at noon. You have lunch every day at noon. He has lunch every day at noon. Now we're going to do it in the negative form. Okay? So this is what we had before we went to do the exercise. We had a declarative sentence. I have lunch every day at noon. You have lunch every day at noon. And he or she has lunch every day at noon. The only change here is the third person. Now we are going to do a negative sentence And what do we need to make a negative sentence? We need the negation right here. And the negation for a verb to have is don't for the first two persons and doesn't for the third person. But we have to change has because there cannot be two third persons in the same sentence. So we are going to change lunch for breakfast to make it not so monotonous. And every day we also have breakfast every day, but not at noon. We usually have breakfast in the morning around 7 a.m. So here we go. Complete sentences. I don't have breakfast every day at 7 o'clock. You don't have breakfast every day at 7 o'clock. He doesn't have breakfast every day at 7 o'clock. So now it's time for you to say it. I'm going to remove this as they appear on the board with the lights, okay? So this is the opportunity for you to say a complete negative sentence in English in 3 different persons. I don't have breakfast every day at 7 a.m. You don't have breakfast every day at 7 a.m. And he or she doesn't have breakfast every day at 7 a.m. Now we are going to form complete sentences, but interrogative sentences. What do we need for that? We need the auxiliary verb do, which is placed before the subject. The third person would be does. And then we're going to use the main verb, which is have. Here we have because the third person singular is here in the auxiliary verb. And we are going to change for dinner. And we are going to say again that every day, but we're going to change the adverb of time. So, do I have dinner every day at 7 o'clock? Don't forget the question mark. Do you have dinner every day at 7 o'clock? Does he or she have dinner every day at 7 o'clock? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all these sentences and you will repeat them with me or without me as the light appears, okay? So, interrogative sentences. Do I have dinner every day at 7 p.m.? Do you have dinner every day at 7 p.m.? Does he or does she have dinner every day at 7 p.m.? Okay, that will do it for today. So as you can see, the infinitive of to have, you can have a lot of things. Nouns. For example, you can have a cup of coffee. You can have a cup of tea. You can have a dream. You can have a nightmare. You can have something to drink, or you can have something to eat. Maybe you can have somebody or someone to love or to trust. As you can see, to have with a noun is very useful to use this idiomatic expression, to have, accompanied by a noun or by something else. If you like the way we explain to you idiomatic expressions with to have, give us a like on the video, please. Subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time. We are going to analyze another idiomatic expression with to get. or a phrasal verb with to get. Have a nice day.